Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this VAST Online webinar, which will provide you an update on the GBMS VAST Online project. Just for those of you that may have been on this last month, this is a repeat. It's exactly the same thing as what we did. We just wanted to give people the opportunity to be able to participate if you couldn't make last one. So if you're expecting something different, you may want to leave now. But you're welcome to keep, stay on though. So let me just go over the agenda of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to first start by reviewing the dealer portal. Most of you probably know this already. You've probably been on it, but we're finding in calls over the last month or two with a lot of you guys, a lot of dealers didn't know about it. So we want to review that so you can review some of the content, just a minute or two. Then I'm going to be passing it over to Andrew Temple, and Andrew is our Director of Professional Services, and he'll be talking about the whole implementation process. Then passing it off to Ryan, and I'll introduce Ryan as well here in a second, but he'll be doing a demonstration. I'll then be giving you kind of an overview of what to expect with QuickBooks. We've had a lot of questions from dealers over the last couple of months on what to expect. And again, there's a lot of anxiety around QuickBooks because you guys have really you've been relying on Goodyear for years for them doing your financials, having accounts payable part of the system. This is different, so I wanted to kind of give you an overview of that, and then just kind of wrap things up with question and answers. We will be taking questions kind of throughout the entire session. So although your mics are off, you do have the ability, hopefully you've used this before, this kind of service, go to webinar, go to meeting, but you do have the ability to kind of key questions. And so please key them in kind of as we go along. We may answer them as we see them, but if not, we'll be answering all of them at the end. So this meeting will be recorded. Just like the past one from last month. So if you wanted to share it with people within your organization, it will be on the dealer portal, and I'll show you that. I'm sure all of you have seen the kind of the end of life announcement from Goodyear. I know that it was on the GBMS screens. They may have sent you a letter as well, but we've been receiving questions just over the last couple of months since this happened, which is what does this mean? Now a lot of you may have called Mike Ron, you may have called some other dealers, I'm sorry, other employees at Goodyear, but I wanted to make sure you knew what we've heard. So, and again, you should really be contacting people at Goodyear on this, but their response when I asked the questions of what does that really mean? Is the system going to be shut off? The response was that for all intents and purposes, it will be shut off. Dealers might be thinking, this is from Goodyear now, dealers might be thinking that they can continue to run their business on GBMS and that their transactions will be sent to Goodyear, kind of like when they did the server upgrade, I think about 3 or 4 years ago. And when the server upgrade happened, they shut off sends to the GBMS server. So during that time, dealers continue to process data, but they didn't get any responses from Goodyear. So the difference here is that December of 2021, Goodyear will be shutting off both the send and the receives, and they'll also be deleting all the data backup. So this is now according to Goodyear. So all transactional data and reporting will be resident on the DDSS system, which is the dealer decision support system. I'm not sure if you know that Goodyear system, but that'll be there for a short period of time after the termination. So again, the bottom line is, for all intents and purposes, it will be shut off. But again, you have some capabilities of seeing data for some period of time. So just a little bit of introduction here before we start. So I think most of you probably know me. You've seen me over the years at the Goodyear Dealer Conference if you've been there. But my name is John Fisher. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Here's my contact information. That's my cell phone. That is my email address. Andrew Temple, who was on the call as well, He's the Director of Professional Services. I'll be handing this over to him in a minute, but it's his team that will be helping you all through the process of implementation. So he has people on his team that are trainers and implementers, and has really been building up over the last couple of years with some just great people that are going to take you through the process here. And then Ryan is also on the call. Ryan will be doing a demonstration of the software. Ryan's an account manager for me. And primarily you'll be working with either him or myself directly, kind of as your account managers as we go through the process over the next few months. And you should have all heard from us individually if you haven't yet. So, okay, so let's talk a little about the dealer portal. This is the website. So if you this is being recorded, so you can always go back to it, but I really would recommend you kind of writing this down. So you don't type in www. If you just key in, without the HTTPS, just key in mamsoftwareportal.com. And this is where you can see features and benefits, hardware requirements, data conversion. So let me go ahead and pass this off to you. Let's see, here we are. So Brian, do you see that still, Andrew? Okay. So once you go to mamsoftwareportal.com and I click on product, the product page has a number of tabs down below. So here's features and benefits is highlighted right now, just showing you some of the benefits, some of the features that we have, kind of different than GVMS. We click on hardware requirements, and I think most of you probably know this already, but there's no servers involved. That's going to be there at your store. So it is a cloud-based, VAS Online is a cloud-based system. So these are the requirements of the PCs that you'll need. You won't need to replace your printers unless you want to. You won't need to replace the credit card machines, again, unless you want to. Those will all work. But again, we're going to be here. We're available to you all, via email or calling us directly with any questions like this. But also, this is where it talks about data conversion, talks about training, timeline, and resources. So I'm not going to go over all of this. Just want to show you where this data is. There's also a great resource tab, which shows a number of, all the release notes. As we come out with another release, which we're doing every couple of months, there is links here to documents that will show you what's contained in each one of these releases. So that's there. There's also how-to videos, a number of how-to videos, and you can click on those with links. Some of them are like here's the webinar that we did last month, all the previous webinars, but also a lot of how-tos as well. So so please use that resource. And let me go ahead and start the presentation again. And now what I'm going to do is just hand it over to Andrew. So Andrew, if you can talk about the whole implementation process and maybe a little more of an introduction from yourself as well, might help.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you very much, John. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. As John mentioned, my name is Andrew Temple. I'm the Director of Professional Services for MAM Software. Been with MAM for just a little over 2.5 years. Previously to MAM, being an employee, I was actually a customer of MAM. So I was headed up our vast legacy installation at a company down in the Austin, Texas area with 16 locations. So very familiar with Goodyear products, Goodyear service codes, national account processing, and everything else. So so that's been a good segue into working on the VAST Online project and making sure that when someone's telling about 046278, that and I know, and my team knows that would end up being a battery disposal fee. So there's going to be some of those things that have come into play, but again, been in the tire and automotive industry for pretty much my entire life, and love what I do. So as John mentioned, we do have a team of folks that work with you on the installation and training setup and everything else of the VAST Online system, converting over from GBMS, but kind of want to walk through a little bit of the process and how all this works. So So from the time that you actually do sign your contract, that will actually go over into a order queue. That queue for us internally then basically gets assigned off over to a member of the implementation team. So the member of the implementation team, they're basically your main go-to person. You have a dedicated person that will actually go through maybe the setup of the system, some of the things that you do that are specific either to your business or maybe to your state based on some of the requirements. So with that, they get an idea of how you run your business. We do start with a seed database. That seed database has all the same types of structure for products, service codes, and everything else. And a lot of those are all pre-populated in the system, so that saves some time on any type of additional entry that may need to be added in. But we do work with you on any of those service codes. A lot of that information, if you have inventory on tires, using those, the 9-digit Goodyear codes, all of that would end up coming over as part of the data conversion, which we'll get into a little bit later. Any of your 093 type codes, we do work with you and ask for a list of those, so that way we can get those things added in. But even too, we'll give you some options on, you know, maybe you want to get away from using some 9-digit service codes for any reason. We can work with you on that, but we go through the complete setup, give you some of the variables, again, that are specific to your business, but also maybe some things that are state specific. So we do work with you on that. Typically the time frame on this is typically about 2 months. That depends on the level of your involvement, your availability, but also too, that's typically for a single location. Typically 2 months is beginning to end from start to finish. If you're multi-location, that may take a little bit longer, or it may not. Again, depending on your level of availability, typically our time frame for these types of orders are about 2 months. From the time that the order is actually arrived with my team, they'll probably, in most cases, reach out to you within about a week or two, if nothing else, with an introduction, or you'd be hearing from myself via email or even a phone call. So to get some a little bit of an idea of how your business is run, we do ask that a dealer worksheet is completed. So this dealer worksheet asks some specific questions about your business and what things that you feel are important, not, or some things that you really want to gauge your business on, maybe from a KPI standpoint. So we ask you some of those questions, and that's all done. That worksheet's actually completed off of our dealer portal that John showed earlier. That comes over to us. It gives us a little bit of an idea of how you're running your business, and then that will actually be forwarded over to our implementation team, who then start working with you on the setup of the system. So what to expect? You know, it's a huge, arduous process for you to actually change from GBMS, which maybe you've been on for 25, 30 years. We understand that. So as part of the implementation process, we do have that single team member that I mentioned previously, and we do really walk through a lot of pieces. Just because you've been using a certain, or your GBMS system a certain way over the years, doesn't mean you have to continue that way. We'll give you some options, or if you just want to go through and say, I want it as mirrored closely as what I have right now, then we'll do that. But we do have some of the online setup, which is all part and parcel of your order. That's all done virtually. So a lot of this can be done no different than what we're doing right now. We can do a lot of this virtually, depending on your schedule, your availability. We can schedule around that. But we do go through and set up your environment and then work through your training as well. So as part of the order, you do end up having 20 hours available to you for the implementation service. And again, that ends up being you know, spread through those, typically that 2 months. Not to say that we can't maybe fast track an order if you are very set in what you want, and not a whole lot of things that maybe pop up that require some additional questions to be answered. We could probably get you going in as little as, you know, 3 to 4 weeks. We've done that in the past. Something we would rather not do, because we want to make sure that you have the time to understand the system, how it works, make sure that you and your employees are trained, but also too work through the the setup of your QuickBooks Online program. So the QuickBooks Online, we do get your chart of accounts as part of the setup, and that chart of accounts, when we actually load that into Vast Online, that will also serve as your chart of accounts export over to your QuickBooks Online. So all the data that's actually fed over from your point of sale, any type of GL transactions, which John will cover a little bit later, all that information actually flows over to QuickBooks Online, but we also, the implementation team will help you work on that as well. So what all type of items are also included? So we have integrated online ordering. So the connections to those vendors, whether they're parts, hard parts vendors, or they're tire vendors, or both, that's all part and parcel of your setup. So we get that information from you, some account numbers, those types of things, and we'll work to get those set up so that we have the integrated online ordering within Vast Online, if you so choose. So we mentioned the training. So training is not necessarily only relegated to just point of sale, but also maintenance. So if a new employee starts, how do you go through and add in an employee? How do you add in a product number? How do I take care of anything related to accounts receivable? All part and parcel of the implementation service. So it is very comprehensive. That also includes your data conversion. So data is huge, right? We understand that. No matter how long you've been on GBMS, how many number of locations that you have, all of your data will be converted over to Vast Online. There's going to be a little caveat to that. You'll be able to see that from your point of sale, but if you did actually reprint any customer invoices, you'll have PDF copies of those available to you within the Vast Online program, and that goes back for 2 years. So that includes your customers, your history of vehicles, any type of inventory, as I mentioned previously. All that's covered in your implementation service. We'll actually do 2 different rounds of that. Excuse me. The first round would actually be for a test, just to make sure that all the data comes over is fine. Don't have any questions with that, and allows you to work with some of the data that you're familiar to seeing day in and day out with customers, those kind of things. Then the night before, we'll actually go through and do another data conversion. And a little bit prior to that, we'll work through credit card setup to make sure that your EPX credit card terminals, if you choose to use those, would integrate into to Vast Online. So we walk through these things with you. We have a full project plan that's actually shared with you, which provides you a status on where you're at. So we're very transparent through the process, and I'm always available should any questions arise. But do know that we understand this is not an easy process, and we're here to make that process go as smoothly as possible.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're going to pass it over to Ryan to do a demonstration. But just to let everyone know, this is not really a detailed, comprehensive demonstration, which we will do one-on-one with all of you whenever you want to do this. So this is really an overview, but it's really a good overview showing you kind of how the system works. So Ryan, give me 1 second. It should be coming your way now.
There we go. You should be able to see this online now, right?
We got it now. Yeah, thank you.
Make it full screen for you here. Perfect. Well, thanks, John. As John had mentioned previously, my name's Ryan Fisher. I'm part of our account management team, working with the Goodyear dealers like yourselves, to make a smooth transition from GBMS onto the Vast Online product. So as John said, we're going to do sort of a high-level walkthrough of the product and give you a feel for a day in the life in the Vast Online product. So what we're looking at here on our screen is the home page for Vast Online. We're going to see a lot of the frequently used buttons here in the middle, but one of the big things that we talked about is this is a cloud-based system running entirely on the internet. It is also what we call a user-based system. What I mean by a user-based system is that when Andrew's team sets you up on the product, each one of your employees will have a user created for them with different and unique credentials that will give them access to different points of the point of sale. So for instance, an owner or a manager might be the only person, who would have access to shop numbers or the back-end maintenance, where, a technician or your service writer is only going to have access to customer data and inventory. So one of the cool things you can see here is if we go to the top right of our Vast Online screen, I can hit this button and I can easily switch between users in the system, log in, log out. We also have, the nice feature, for some of our owners or maybe managers of our multi-location customers, where you have the ability to switch stores by clicking this little house button here. It'll give you a drop-down menu of all the different locations, that you own, so that you can easily switch between stores. On the top right of the screen here, you're going to see a couple different KPIs or key performance indicators that we set up for your shop. That'll give you basic sales numbers, so you can maybe have a glance at what you're doing here. So you can see we have weekly breakdowns for tire sales, product sales, labor sales, etc. We can also set weekly sales targets. So maybe your manager or service writer will have a general idea of how the shop's doing each week. In the bottom right, we're going to have a menu that shows all of the open work orders in our shop that still need to be invoiced. In the bottom left here, we get a quick look at any of our open appointments that we have scheduled in our shop for today. You'll also see here on the we have a horizontal toolbar here. It'll give us access to a couple different features within the system, like pending estimates, our appointment scheduler, transfers for multi-location customers, things like that. Off to the left here on our vertical toolbar, we have all of our different menus within the system. So our point of sale menu, our inventory, our reports, our accounts receivable menu, etc. So now what I want to do is I want to jump into a couple of the quick features that we see most of our customers using day in and day out for the system. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hop into our point of sale menu. We're going to click our appointment scheduler. So we have a customer that calls in, who wants to get schedule an appointment at the shop either today or for a date in the future. We'd go to this menu. So you can see here, we do have our scheduler broken down by bay. Some of our customers choose to break that down by different services, or maybe bay 1, 2, 3, or 4. That is customizable. You can see here off to the right, we do have this mini calendar. We simply click on any date that we're trying to book an appointment for, and we'll have the ability to book that that customer at that date. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit new to open up a new ticket. You can search by last name here, so I will type in my last name, Fisher. We can take, say, Ross Fisher here. We'll select Ross. It's going to tell me that he does have some open work orders in our shop right now. I'm going to ignore that notification for now. It's then going to ask us, we could either add a brief description of the work that he's looking to get done. So maybe if he tells us his brakes are squeaky, or some other note, some other area that he's seen within his car, we can jot that down there. We can also select the work type, that Ross is coming in for into our shop today. So again, if I select tires, you'll actually notice, in our planned hours column here, it'll show the amount of hours that we've estimated that this job will take. So for our system, we're saying roughly tires are going to be a half-hour job. So we'll block out that time in our system. After we've selected the work for Ross, what we're going to do is we're going to go to select date and bay. So again, now that we're on the correct date, I'm going to scroll down. We'll say that Ross is going to come later this afternoon. I would simply click on the time that he's coming, hit save. And we've now saved Ross on our appointment calendar. One of the other neat features that we have is, if Ross gives us a call and says, hey, could you take me maybe an hour earlier, maybe a half hour later, he needs to move the appointment, we could simply come into our appointment scheduler and drag and drop his icon into any different time slot or any different bay on our calendar here. So what I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to go back to our home page. The next thing that I'd like to show you guys is how we can quickly and efficiently quote our customers for a set of tires. So if we want to, I'm going to go to our tire lookup button. It's going to ask me if the customer's in store, if we're just doing a quick phone quote. I'll hit phone quote. So it's going to go right into my tire inventory screen. From here, I can look up tires in a few different ways. I think the most common is that we're just going to type in the tire size that the customer wants. If for whatever reason we don't know what size tire the customer needs, we do have a fitment button down here where we can click this, we can enter in the year, make, and model of the customer's vehicle, and it will show us the tire size for that vehicle. So what I'm going to do here, we'll say the customer needs a 225 55 17. I'll type that in. I'll hit enter. And then what the system is going to do is it's going to look up all the 225 55 17s in my local inventory. The first thing that I like to do when I'm talking to a customer about what tires they're going to get is I'm going to hit this GP button. What this does is it automatically moves our gross profit for these tires into the front column. So if I want to, I can click this twice to sort from highest to lowest. The reason I'm doing this is, if the customer is just calling in, they're not sure what tire they want, I always want to sell the tire that makes us the most money. So what we're looking at here, all of this data, we're getting from our tire data downloader. So when we set you up in our shop or on your store, you'll tell us what tires that you guys are stocking in your inventory, and we'll go into our tire data downloader and we'll download those tires into the system. You'll also, after we set you up, have access to that tire data downloader. So if you add different stocking items in the future, you can download that data. But you can see based off of that, I think we have around 35 to 40 different characteristics of tires that we can download, and we can customize what is displayed in the system. So you can see here, we have our tire size, manufacturer, load index, speed rating, manufactured mileage warranty off to the right. So depending on what you want to see for your shop, we can configure the system to do that. So if the customer tells us, they're not too hung up, they like just a standard set of Goodyear tires, I'll go to this Assurance Comfort Tread tire. I'll select that. I'll hit quantity 4, and I'll hit save. Now what the system is going to do as the tires have been put on the system is it's going to add a few additional parts. It's going to ask me if I'd like a road hazard warranty to be added onto this ticket. I'm actually going to decline that here, so I'll just click that box to decline and save it. But what you're seeing here up at the top, we have the tire that we selected, the part number for that tire, and the price per unit, then our total cost, or I should say our total price. Below that, we have a bunch of different services that we call tag-along parts. What a tag-along part is an associated service that we're always going to perform when we sell a certain item to our customer. So every time a customer comes into our shop, to buy a tire, I should say, we're going to perform the disposal fee, the alignment check, the wheel balance, etc. This is customizable for your shop. But what this does is it makes your tire quoting process, consistent and efficient. So we're quoting people the same price every time they come in the door. After we finish the quote, we're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, can we get a name so we can save your reservation when you come into for when you're going to come into the shop. What we'll do, we'll go to our customer screen. We'll type in the last name of the customer, Bonilla. So we'll see Lou Bonilla here, one of our customers. I'll select him. Select the vehicle that he's going to be bringing into our shop today. It's going to ask me to, just to check through his, for whatever reason, I don't know why it's not letting me continue. I think I picked a vehicle that was expired. Let me add that back. We'll put in Bonilla again. Select a different one of his vehicles here. And again, it's going to bring me to the customer contact screen. I'm not sure, Andrew, do you know what his UPC certificate would be?
Yeah, so if you
Inspection date here.
if you scroll down on the left-hand side, you'll actually see end up underneath the FET exemption, you'll end up seeing some UPC, which is user purchase, universal purchaser certificate, or you can exclude that FET exemption.
It should have let me continue past here. Oops. Something in the future here. There we go. So once we've corrected Lou's inspection date, we'll go back to the work order. We'll ask Lou what time he wants to come into the shop. So we'll hit finish. We'll go to create an appointment. Again, it's just showing me a few open tickets that Lou has in our shop. And again, it's just going to bring us right back to our appointment calendar to save Lou's appointment date in our system. Again, it's going to ask me if I want to print a service history report. I'm going to decline that for now. It'll also give me the option to print or send a work order to Lou's email. I'm going to decline that. And then once we get into our appointment calendar, again, we're going to tell the system that we're just doing tires on Lou's car. And we'll save it onto our work order. One of the nice things when we create an appointment, for the customer when they come into our shop, when they get here, we can simply hit this pencil icon. It will automatically open up the work order that we've already created for the customer, so that we can continue, to invoice that customer. But what I want to do, I actually want to walk through that process again, to show you a different scenario that you might encounter at your shop. So if I go back to phone quote. We'll type in that same 225-55-17. Now let's say the customer says, Ryan, I actually prefer to use, a Cooper tire or a different tire, that you don't typically stock in your shop. Well, as Andrew mentioned earlier, within our system, we have the ability to connect you to your part vendors or to your tire wholesalers. So what I would do is I would hit this V-Tire button. Again, it's going to start off by showing me our local inventory for that 225-55-17. Once it displays that inventory, we'll get to see here on the left all of the different wholesalers that our shop connects to. So for instance, if I want to call it the Kaufman Tire, I'll click on Kaufman Tire, and what the system's going to do is it's going to do a live call out to that wholesaler to get on-hand pricing and availability for the size that we've put in. So again, we can see here, if I want to, I can filter it alphabetically to look up the brands. And our customer said that he wanted a Continental tire, so I can scroll down to see what inventory they have for Continental tires in the 225-55-17 category. If we look here to the right, we're going to see a few different things. First, we're going to see the cost of the tire. So how much is that tire going to cost us to buy for the customer? Then we're going to see the price. The price takes the cost of that tire and puts your cost multipliers on it to determine the selling price of that tire to our customer. And then lastly, we're going to see in the yellow highlighted here, how many of that tire do they have in their local inventory? And if we want to, we can simply select those tires that we're going to buy and handle a direct purchase order right from our system. So now that we've done that, I want to back out.
While you do that, let me just cut in a second too.
Your mic's having some issues there, John.
Okay. So we're bringing up about questions. We haven't had any questions yet. So if anyone wants questions, has any questions, please feel free to leave them in.
Yep, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our home screen here. What I'd like to do is sort of start a work order from start to finish, adding parts, going through our customer contact to give you guys an idea of what that looks like. So if a customer comes into our shop, we're going to go to our customer contact button. Again, we'll search for my last name, Fisher. We'll select my account. Again, it's going to show me that I do have some open work orders in the shop. Then I'm going to select one of my vehicles. Now what the system is going to do is it's going to pull up our customer contact screen. So on the left, you'll see all the relevant contact information for that customer. On the right, you'll see all of the relevant vehicle information for the vehicle that we've entered for that customer. One of the nice things that you can do is when the member of Andrew's team is setting you up on the system, you will have the ability to require that your service writer captures certain information on the contact screen. So you can say you can't enter a contact until you have a phone number, email address, and first name and last name. So you can really control what your service writer is capturing behind the counter. Off to the right, you're going to see all of the year, make, and model information. We'll see here year, make, model, engine size, license plate, VIN number, etc. We do have the ability to put the VIN number in and decode that VIN number into a year, make, and model, so we can have that information in our system. We also have our customer profile button. Not all of our customers choose to use this, but this is a really handy tool, in my opinion, where we could jot down different notes about the customer. So for Ryan Fisher, I say don't accept checks. Maybe I've given this a bad payment in the past. Maybe we want some info about their family, so we click family names and see that his wife's name is Mary. She works at the local school. His son Bobby plays on the local soccer team. Just some nice information to maybe enhance our customers' experience when they come into our shop. We also have our vehicle profile button that gives us just some basic information about the vehicle. One of the common, or a few of the common things that our customers use, where do they keep the wheel lock? It's in the center console, or what's the radio code? We'll have that listed down here below. So again, just a couple different things to make our job a little bit easier. Another thing that we have that a lot of our customers will use is our decline products button. So what this is, when a customer comes into our shop, we've built a ticket for that customer. Say we've suggested a few different services that for whatever reason at that time they've told us that they didn't want to move forward with it. What we do is we decline those services and they will save onto that customer's profile. So the next time they come to the shop, we can access that information. That's good for a few different reasons. Number one, it gives us the information to upsell that service to our customer the next time they come to the shop. It also gives us the ability to, if the customer comes back and complains that something wasn't done, well, you can see here we have a date that we told them that they needed to get that work done, so we have that history captured within the point of sale. After that, I think what we'll do is we'll jump right into our work order here. So going back off of what Andrew said, one of the big things that we give you the ability to do is that you'll be able to use your Goodyear product codes that you're currently using within GBMS if that's something that you choose to do. We also have the ability to do some new things, such as connecting to your part vendors for direct part ordering. So what I want to do is I want to show you sort of how that integration works. So if a customer comes to our shop and they say, we want to get a set of front brake pads added to our car. What we're going to do, we're going to go to our products button, click the catalog button. From here, we have a few different options of how we can look up parts. So we can either freeform type for that part here in our search bar, or we could break it down by part category. I usually break it down by part category. So what I would do is I'd click the braking system, I'd go to front brake pads, and I'd hit V-Item Broker. V-Item Broker is our tool that connects your point of sale directly to the part vendors. So again, here, it'll pull up our local inventory first, because if we have the part in stock, we want to sell it. If we don't here, you can see the list of different part vendors that we currently connect to. So let's say I want to buy the part from Advance. I'll click on Advance, and again, the system is going to call out to the part vendor in real time to get pricing and availability. Just like tires, we'll have the ability to see the product number, the description of that product, the supplier cost, and then what we're selling the product to our customers for after we've applied our cost multiplier to that part. You can also see here in the AV column how many of this part do they have in stock. So again, these are the front brake pads that we want, so we're going to select them. Select them. We'll hit post. It's asking me to confirm that I have selected the right quantity. Then from here, I have two options. I can either post the part onto our work order just for quoting purposes, because maybe we haven't talked to our customer yet, or I can select this order button to handle a direct outside purchase from that vendor. But because I haven't talked to our customer yet, I'm simply just going to post it for quoting purposes. But once we've done that, another integration that we have on our system is an integrated labor guide from a company called Epicore. A lot of you have already used Epicore for a number of years. They sponsor the Triad catalog that you currently use with GBMS. So we want to pull labor time for the work that we're going to do. We're going to go back into our products tab. We'll hit catalog, go into braking system, select front brake pads, click the labor group that we're looking for, and then I'll hit the labor button. It's going to ask me a few pre-qualifying questions about the vehicle. I'll answer those. Once I've answered those, it's going to pull us into our labor catalog here. So again, we're looking for position front on the brake pad. So I see that here. I'll click that. Down below, it gives you a brief description of what this labor operation is going to include, as well as the skill of the technician that they're basing this time off of, and then lastly, the amount of hours included in this job. So what I'm going to do, I'll hit select. We'll add that add that labor operation onto our ticket. You can see here, the job is $135. What we do is we do add in your shop labor rate, so it takes the time that we have in our labor catalog and adjusts it based on your labor rate. The last thing I want to do is I want to show you some of our package functionality. We have a lot of our Goodyear customers that do choose to use packages for services that they frequently sell. One of the most popular ones being an oil change. So if we hop in here and go to our packages button, we can filter the packages that we offer. I'll go down to oil change services. Then I'll select the oil package that I want to use. So if I select this, what the system's going to do when we use a package is it's going to directly integrate with our catalog to display the data that we're going to need to handle this job. So again, the system's telling me that the recommended viscosity is 5W20. It's going to ask me to select a 5W20 from our local inventory. Will then ask me to confirm the amount of quarts required for the job. One of the nice things that we do is we typically build our packages off of quart size. So if it goes over, let's say it's a 5-quart package, if it goes over that package amount, the system will automatically put up a message saying, would you like to bill the customer for the additional oil needed? Once we've selected that, it's also going to ask us to select an oil filter for the job, which I'll do here. If we have it in our local inventory, we'll be able to add it. If we do not, we can simply go to one of our part vendors. So I'll pull one from our local inventory. And just like that, we have built a full oil change package. And again, the system's going to take a second to build it and to display it. But that's one of the big advantages. A lot of our customers are typically using other systems to get that oil change data. In our system, we do have it integrated all into one platform through using our Epicore catalog. Now, for whatever reason, my internet's going a little slow, but now, once we've built our ticket, the last thing that we want to do is invoice it. As John and Andrew had mentioned, we will have an integration to EPX for credit card processing, if that's something that you would like to continue to use. But what we'll do here is we'll hit our invoice and preview. What our system will always do is we do have a few pre-qualifying things that you need to do before invoicing the customer. So one of them being we need to assign technicians to the work that's being done. So I'll select a technician from our list here. We'll save it. It's going to ask me to enter in a mileage in and mileage out for this customer so we can track that. Save. And then once we've entered in all of that information, it should bring us to our invoicing screen. One of the big differences that you'll see within our system, when we compare it to GBMS, is that we have the ability to break down, the payment method between multiple payment types. So, for instance, if the customer wants to pay by credit card, we'll select credit card. Let's say on one card they want to put $200. I'll hit that. I'll hit tab. The system's automatically then going to prompt me to select another payment method for this receipt. So if I want to, I could do it by cash, check, or another credit card. We can break this down as many times as you need to. We know that it's always been a headache in the past for the Goodyear dealers to have to figure out a way to split payments on an invoice. So we've really simplified that process within our system. Because I don't have a credit card machine set up, I'm not going to invoice it today. But what I'll do now, the last thing that I'd like to show you is just a little bit of our national account integration. I'm not sure if John or Andrew had mentioned it, but one of the things that our system will do is that we do integrate into Tire HQ for national account processing. John will talk a little bit later about how those credits will get applied into the back-end accounting system. But what's important for our dealers is that you can continue to invoice customers and have that data directly sent to Tire HQ to get your credits back. So what we'll do is we'll go into our point of sale menu, go down to delivery receipts where we'll select US national account. We can search for the national account customer that is currently at our shop. So I'll pull up Century Insurance here. We'll select them. One of the nice things is, because this is a demo system, we're only showing one of their vehicles. But typically, when you have, a fleet customer that has, a number of different vehicles, we do have the ability, to sort the fleet numbers for their vehicles, so that you can easily find a vehicle when they come into your shop. So now that we've selected our vehicle, we will go, into our contact screen. Because this customer has been to our shop before, they are already linked to their US national account. If it's a new customer that you're adding, we do have the integration with Tire HQ where we can look up that national account information right from this screen. If we click this $, this will bring us to our ship to information, so we can confirm that that is all correct. The other thing that we're always going to capture, when a customer comes into our shop is the driver information. So you'll see here, based on the asterisks, what information is required. So again, if I just put my name in here, then we'll get on the phone number because that's required. We'll save that information. Once we have all that filled out, the ship to, the bill to, and the driver information, we can hit the continue button to pull up the requirements that are actually going to get sent to Tire HQ. Now, it's not essential that you enter these in the second they come in. You can do this when you go to invoice the customer later on. But I did think it was important that you guys did get to see this screen so you can see what we're going to be sending to Tire HQ. So what I'll do here is I'll cancel out of that, and then it'll pull me into a work order. We always have national account messages appear. They can show various information. If the customer has a past due balance, it could let us know here. It can let us know to call a number if we need to confirm anything about the driver's details. And then from there, we'll go about building our work order just like we would with any other customer. So I'm going to pass it back to John. I think John is going to talk about our QuickBooks integration now. You might be muted there, John. I can't hear you.
How about now?
There you go.
Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, I switched my audio over to this headset. There was one question, Ryan, that came through. I'm not sure why it's not there anymore. Maybe they deleted it, or maybe I deleted it by mistake. But anyway, the question was, do we support any kind of way of capturing a vehicle VIN on a mobile device out in your car park? So the answer is yes, we do support that, but with a separate product called Carside. So this is a digital inspection application. We are going to be having a separate webinar here sometime, probably within the next 30 days to 60 days, where we'll be highlighting that and giving you an overview, a demonstration of that product. But it gives you the ability to kind of digitize your whole inspection process. Ryan, are you seeing my screen or not?
I believe I'm still sharing, so I'm gonna unshare that now. You should have the ability to share yours now.
Thanks. So if there's any more questions, please key them into the webinar screen. It's not letting me, Ryan. Is it possible? Oh, maybe change presenter. There I am. I'll take it.
Yep, you're displaying now.
Correct screen. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned in my introduction, we know there's a lot of worry, anxiety about the whole accounting and QuickBooks part of the system. So, I just wanted to make sure, I wanted to have people understand what it is that we do for accounting inside of Vast Online and what we don't do. So what to expect. So here on the screen, you'll see that the first bullet here is what is not performed in QuickBooks. So Vast Online, apart from being a complete point of sale system, right, is a complete inventory management system. It is a purchase order system. So it's where all your purchasing takes place. It's where all of your inventory is taking place as well as pricing. And it is also accounts receivable. So it's a complete accounts receivable system. So all of those modules do work, and you'll be using those within Vast Online. So what is performed in QuickBooks Online is the two modules, and I'll talk about the touch points between the two. But it's accounts payable and general ledger. So those are the two modules. With accounts payable, it is where you're going to be writing your checks. It's where you're going to be running reports for check requirements, cash requirements reports, and running an accounts payable aging. So all of that takes place in QuickBooks Online. But the part of accounts payable that you are entering into Vast Online would be any of the receipt of anything that you're purchasing. So products that you're purchasing, tires that you're purchasing, and whether it be raw materials for retreading, any parts. So anything that you're reselling, you're going to be using our purchase order module to receive the merchandise in, and that's where you're actually going to be receiving the products and keying in accounts payable vendor information. So that's where you're going to be entering in the payable. And you may have seen that quickly on the screen that Ryan showed on V-Item Broker or V-Tire, where you're receiving in tires or parts. You key in the accounts payable information, and then that transaction automatically posts to QuickBooks. Today, it's a batch at the end of the day, but very quick here. I think in the next month or two, we will actually be doing that real time. So it's actually, we'll be sending over that data in real time throughout the day of accounts payable data. So apart from accounts payable, all of the journals within Vast Online would be a sales journal, inventory journal, accounts receivable journal. Those post journal entries directly into QuickBooks Online. So it's not something you're going to need to do. It's going to be automatic. And those journal entries are sent to QuickBooks so that you'll be doing all of your financial statement reporting within QuickBooks Online. So those are the touch points. Accounts payable comes over in detail. Everything else, as far as financial transactions, come over as a journal entry, and it's going to be done right now today as a batch at the end of the day. But it will be real time here within the next month or two. So one of the things that we do suggest that you do is to get some assistance. We have some really good people that do know accounting, and we work with you on getting the whole integration within Vast Online set up and integrated to QuickBooks Online, but we're definitely not QuickBooks Online professionals. So we'd really recommend that you do get some help, whether it be your outside accountant. A lot of outside accountants do specialize and they offer QuickBooks services. So I would suggest that you talk to your CPA or whoever's doing your books on the outside. There's also a number of people and organizations that are considered QuickBooks certified pros. So that link there that's on the screen, quickbooks.intuit.com/find an accountant, is a great tool to help you to get some help. So hopefully that clears things up. Please feel free to call me directly. You know, as some of you may know, my background is accounting. I'm a CPA, and I can help you out as well with giving you direction of what you're going to be doing. It's just that we don't have expertise within QuickBooks itself. So that's a little bit of an overview of QuickBooks. Any more questions? Nope, I don't see questions, but let's go to the last slide. Ryan, I'm sorry?
I did have one question come through. I did answer it indeed, but just wanted to comment on it so everyone saw it. But Chris had asked, you know, since this is an internet-based system, you know, can I log in from any PC? You will have that ability. That's one of the big advantages. You know, if you're on the road and have your personal laptop and you'd like to log in to check shop numbers, you will have that ability as long as you have your login credentials on you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ryan. Okay, so lastly, just, you know, some points here. Don't forget, use the dealer portal. We're going to continue to add content there with release notes and demos. This presentation will be there, but please use that. You saw the link before. Talk to your account manager, myself or Ryan. You know, get a more detailed demonstration, and we will carve out time and do kind of one-on-one demonstrations, and we'll do that at your convenience. We will present a contract to you, and you can get that out to you right away now, so you can spend time reviewing it. But the key is really, I think, at this point, really trying to think about when you want to do this. Right, so we really encourage you guys to get a contract signed with us so that you can lock in a date, because the popular months are starting to fill up, like November of this coming year, at the end. There's a lot of dealers that want to wait till the end to do this, so I think November is about almost filled up at this point. So, because there are, you know, over 300 locations that we're going to be putting in, and it's ramping up right now. So. So I suggest you do that. So, okay, well, that's really it. I think there may be another question here. So does a phone quote, this came in from Patricia Burke, does a phone quote show as an active work order? So there are two different things. Phone quotes are not work orders unless you turn them into a work order. So when you start as a phone quote, you know, because you don't necessarily want to be allocating inventory for just everyone that you quote. So that's why we have this process of creating a quote. That quote gets added to the system, and you can put it on an appointment calendar if you want, but if it stays as a quote, those are not allocating inventory. So one button, you know, and you can change the status, and you can change it into an active work order just by changing the status, and it is. But so that those are the two different statuses before it actually, is turned over into a finalized invoice. Any other questions from anyone?
We had another question come in that I did answer. But for anyone who didn't see that, the QuickBooks integration, if you do choose to take advantage of that, there is an additional rental cost for the QuickBooks product. It's roughly about $40 a month. So it's not a huge investment, but that is a cost that will be involved.
And I think it might be a little bit more if you are a multiple location dealer and you wanted to have multiple profit centers. So again, it's not tremendously more, but if if you're someone that has like 5 or 6 stores, it'll, one instance of QuickBooks Online will handle it. It's just that you're going to need a version which may add another $10 or $20 a month. It's not that expensive in the scheme of things. So. Okay, well, it's right at 2 o'clock. It's been an hour, 2 o'clock here Eastern time. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate.
John, real quick, it does look like there's one more question that came in with the cost of the new system.
You want to handle that one? You want me to?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. And so, the good thing with the transition to the VAS Online product is that Goodyear has covered all of the upfront fees. So there is no cost to the dealer to make the conversion onto our product. With the monthly price, we should be coming in a little bit lower than what you're currently paying. Every Goodyear dealer seems to be paying a slightly different number at this point. But right now, our cost is about $498 per month.
And that's kind of all in. There's some optional items in there too. So that's with cataloging, that's with tire fitment as well. So those are things that you can back out that would be, bring the number, right about 4 if you wanted to, or just under that. So
and that is something that both John and myself will go into greater detail when we reach out to you to discuss this process with you guys. So the big thing is we do encourage you guys. I know John and I are reaching out to you every day, but we do encourage you, to take our contact information when you have some time. Reach out to us, to really hammer down a conversion date for your business. For sure.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We'll be talking to you all soon. Take care.